Hey guys, here I am with another video of 6 things which I wish I knew when I started coding. You just start learning a skill and you do it for a long time, and then you look back and you go like, yeah, I wish I knew these things beforehand or while starting. So I thought this would be a cool advice video for you guys who are just starting new. So let's just jump into it. So the first advice which I wish I knew very badly is understand the fundamentals of coding. So when I started coding, it was more like I was looking to do fancy things, and in those fancy things, I did not understand most of the basics, and I could achieve the fancy things obviously, but technically I did not understood how I did it because my fundamentals were weak. So here's an advice, like when you work on a big project or something and you need to write very good code, it's not those fancy things which matter, it's about your fundamentals. That is what will enable you to write good code. So make sure you know your fundamentals really well. When I read my old code, I just like go and I'm like, oh my god, what was I doing back then? And I wish I could tell myself that, yeah, please understand the fundamentals of coding very well. So the second point is don't fall into the tutorial loop and just make sure you make projects. So what I did was I just watched videos of one technology, like tutorials, and I thought I was done learning and I was an expert, and I just watched the tutorials of the next technology and thought I was an expert. But when it came to applying that expertness in a project, I couldn't because first I forgot what kind of code do I have to write and all the basic concepts of that technology because I was just hopping between the tutorials and I thought I was getting a lot more done, but I wasn't. There's this quote like if even if you're doing a lot more, that does not mean you're getting a lot more done. So make sure when you like watch your tutorial series, you can follow along the guy who's teaching and complete it, but make sure you make at least one project of that technology um, after you finish learning the technology, and then you can call yourself an expert, not an expert, yeah, but then you will get well versed with the technology which you just learned through the tutorials. I did not do that and I wish I did, so I had to go back again, learn those things, and to now then I understand them. I didn't understand them before because I was just tutorial hopping. So make sure you don't do that. The third thing is research about good coding practices in that specific technology. So for example, you're working in Python, React, or Node.js. If I don't know why you're working in Node.js, but yeah, maybe Node.js or anything. Um, just make sure you know the good practices in that technology. So some people ask me like, how do you understand, when I talk about the good practices, some people ask me like, how do you know, like how do you find out these good practices, because many of the technologies which the new people learn are new technologies and they are growing communities. So I would suggest Reddit, Stack Overflow, and just online articles. Again, Stack Overflow may seem like a controversial answer here because people just go there, including me, just to yoink code. But Stack Overflow really has some good explanations and really good practices because what happens is, me being me, when I used to go on Stack Overflow, I would just yoink the first answer, which was the best answer, yoink the code, paste it in my code base, and voila, everything worked. And I was happy, and all of us were happy. But that is not what I do today. What I do is, I obviously go to the Stack Overflow if I need anything. I read the person answers and I read the explanation of the best answer, and then I go down and I read all the other answers as well because there are like multiple answers given. But there should be a reason why the best answer is given the best answer, because it has some good coding practices, or maybe it's just more efficient, it is less lines, it is more dynamic or flexible, or whatever you want to call it. But There is a reason that answer is the best answer on Stack Overflow for that specific question. So you should compare like with the other answers, like why is this the best? So that is how you know what are the good practices or the good methods or the better ways you can implement something in your project, because there are just thousand ways one can do it, and you just have to find the best one to do. So the next step is don't get intimidated by other people, and also influenced very hardly. So when I started coding, I used to like just look at other people and I was like, yo, he knows much more than me, and he's the best. I can never be like him. Or like she knows like 10 technologies and I just know two. And by technologies, I mean languages or frameworks and everything in general. Um, don't do that. It's okay. Everyone has their own journey. Everyone has to take their own time. They probably got there working hard and you can get there too. So just don't get intimidated by other people, and don't think it in a negative way. Instead, don't be afraid to ask help. Just if you feel that they know more than you, just go talk with them, ask them how you should do stuff, or how you can be like them, or like what things you want to know from them, like in general. Just don't be afraid to approach people about asking things, because I've seen people, including myself, I was very afraid to ask someone who knew much more than me. Um, but at today's age, I just approach the person who knows much more than me, because I get to learn more things, like I get to learn things from him, and that's very cool. So just don't be afraid and don't get intimidated. You can ask help to other people and they'll help you. Don't worry about it. The next tip is again, which is actually complementary to the tip before, which is don't jump between the technologies because people just talk about. I used to do that when I was like, when I started, I used to just like, I just heard one person saying, "Yeah, Ruby's the best. Ruby's the future, man. You gotta do it, man. It's like it's gonna be everywhere, man. And you're gonna regret not doing it, man." And I just came home and I did like 10 hours of Ruby in like 2 days, and I don't remember a single thing about it. So yeah, don't just do something because other people tell you to, and again, don't hop into technologies even if like it's like you. Again, it also complements the tutorial point. If you finish one tutorial, just don't switch to another technology and start learning that, and then you can be like, I'm an expert in both of those things. No, you're not. You need to implement, you need to get hard, like you need to work on it, and you have to just like make projects in general. Again, yeah, if you don't like the technology or you're bored learning the same thing, then yeah, you can switch. I mean, it's all about exploration. Who am I to stop you? But not every 15 days, and not between 7 technologies. Like people including me, I mean, I was doing like that. So I used to do web development in the morning and machine learning in the night, and it was a nightmare. So just stick to one thing. Give yourself time. You have a lot of time to learn, and it's not a race, or like he's gonna go first and he's gonna learn everything and I have to catch up with him. No, it's not like that. So make sure you give yourself enough time to learn those technologies, absorb those technologies, implement them. I am stressing on this big time because I wish I knew it. And the last advice which I have for you today, and which I wish I knew, was just use Linux, please. So you as a viewer, you could like fit into one of these three categories. First one is you are just too rich and you have a MacBook or a Mac and you use Mac OS. Good for you. I don't hate people who use Mac OS. I mean, yeah, it's fine. People you like developing on that. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, Tim Cook and everything. Then there are people who are like average people who use Windows. Again, there are some people in those average people who are using Windows for development like 7 to 8 years. Uh, I mean, that's okay if you're using Windows. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, and then there are people like me, the supreme elite people who use Linux, and I wish I had used Linux before. I mean, Oh my god, Linux is just so much better. I mean, you can just Google or YouTube like why Linux is better than Windows for coding, and you'll get like thousands of videos about it by other supreme elite people like me who use Linux every day. So make sure Linux is in your ecosystem. Yeah, people have weird reasons. Like even I had my reason for not using Linux was, yeah, I can do gaming on it, dude. Linux sucks. I can't game on it. No, you're a you can dual boot and you can just use Windows for gaming and Linux for developing. You can dual boot. It's fine. You can use a VM. It's fine. It's very accessible today. Installing Linux like 10 years or 20 years ago was a nightmare of what I have heard. And today it's like just installing just another software. So just please, if you're a web developer especially, please switch to Linux because you are gonna need to know how to handle your server on AWS or DigitalOcean. People don't use Windows servers. And if you do use Windows servers, why? Are there any Windows servers? I don't know. Azure uses Linux, which is Microsoft's. Please use Linux. So yeah, that is all I had to say. Thank you for watching. Make sure you put a comment down below if you have any advice for the viewer who is watching right now. And you can just maybe hate on me in the comments because yeah. Or if you like the video, like it, subscribe. I'm gonna put more content. See you in the next video.